Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Tom Day's Shanghai Noon from the year 2000. So yes, back again, believe it or not, and yes, I hope you're all okay, staying safe, of course, and just as well as you can be at least. I hope you all your viewers out there, and yes, I wasn't gonna, maybe upload too much actually at the moment, but I thought tonight, I thought why not? I probably wasn't gonna. I was kind of thinking, it's been around 5 days since my last upload anyway, but I thought maybe even a week from now, just to kind of really, just get back in the swing of things gradually. But yes, I thought I wanted to just go ahead with this review, and it's a film that actually did, it did uplift me, and maybe it could uplift you as well, viewers out there. But yes, it's a very interesting film, and it's a very unique kind of Western film. It's a film that I wanted to see for a number of years, really. I'd seen maybe clips of it here and there. I'd heard about this film since I was a kid, and as I was a kid, I was kind of watching a lot of, well, quite a few at least, kind of Jackie Chan films, kind of silly films and stuff. And yes, for a number of years, I just haven't really, at least seen too many at all. Jackie Chan films, and yes, having watched quite a few, martial arts films recently, Shaw Brothers films, and actually wanted to once again just delve into Jackie Chan as well. I thought this film looked very appealing to me. Owen Wilson as well. Big fan of him. Just naturally funny, very unique, actor, and I'm a big fan of Owen Wilson. And yes, it's a very interesting film. Of course, there is a sequel. It's part of this kind of series, the Shanghai series, and yes, there won't be any spoilers, in this film review. So if you haven't seen this film, don't worry, I won't kind of get into spoiler territory. But yes, it's a film. Of course, there's a western, kind of. It's a comedy western. It's very much, referencing, parodying, different elements of the genre, specifically, very obviously, certain films. Of course, the title, of course, it's High Noon. Shanghai Noon. Very obvious there. High Noon, being, of course, the classic '50s Gary Cooper western, which I think is a masterpiece. I reviewed that, a while back actually, and yes, this film, it does a lot. There's a lot going on here actually. It's kind of this very unique and I think personally highly enjoyable film. Highly enjoyable. Kind of mashup, you could say, these different genres, different tones maybe as well. We'll get to that, but yes, this film, of course, Jackie Chan plays Chong Wan, and yes, this kind of imperial guard who, after the kind of first, kind of scenes, he is tasked with rescuing, this princess. Yes, she basically, she gets taken, and Lucy Liu, interestingly, kind of plays this princess, and yes, Jackie Chan's character of Chong, basically, yes, tries to rescue her, traveling, of course, from his hometown, and yes, basically, Owen Wilson is this kind of cowboy, of course, this character, of Roy O'Banion, and yes, he basically is kind of this, not at first, but initially, but kind of eventually, this team up, you could say, these two characters. It's kind of a buddy cop, kind of film as well at times. Of course, they're not, cops in the film, but that kind of element to the film, and it's kind of this kung fu, kind of martial arts, western, it's an action comedy. It's this film that, it's got hilarious moments of slapstick, but at the same time, it's kind of like this, Buster Keaton kind of way, with in the unique way in which the comedy is blended, with the action, just in this particular way. The practicality of it, does remind me, I think Jackie Chan films, they are kind of like Buster Keaton's very much so, very close to that, I feel, and I'd only just recently seen, Buster Keaton's some of his feature films, so now I can kind of pick up on that more, but I had seen some shorts from him, a few years back, but yes, this is very interesting to see that kind of linkage there, that connection, but yes, it's just a highly enjoyable film, and I think it takes a kind of the opening scene is not maybe the best of opening scenes, but I think once these characters go into the main location of the film, a lot of this is actually shot in Canada. And it's just a wonderful looking film. It really, really is. And I think once the characters kind of interact, they start interacting. The main characters. That's when it really picks up. And I think a lot of this film, at least quite a few elements, are great. I really, really do. I think this is a hilarious film, and just the writing, the way the film is shot and edited, just these characters, together. I wouldn't say the romances are that great, but I don't really think they're trying to be, this kind of in this vein. It's very much played for laughs in that sense, and it's very charming, but it's not anything too deep in that sense and stuff. But I do enjoy, these relationships, but it's mainly this central, kind of friendship between these two characters, very, very different characters, and despite that, they form this friendship, and it's very, very highly charming, to see on screen. I think Owen Wilson is great in the film, and Jackie Chan is so great as well. This kind of over the top, performance, of course, and it's just a great kind of pairing here, and I just think I love the kind of the Western, humor in it. The way that kind of parodies different Westerns, at the same time as kind of this comedy kung fu film. So it's kind of this blend, not always perfectly working. I don't feel. I don't think this is a perfect film. It has got some slight tonal issues throughout the film, but very, very few really. And they're not too major in terms of just bringing the film down. But I do think some moments kind of fall short a little bit, and it's a film that could have been better in a few places. I feel there's a couple of things that don't quite work as well as they could. I was feeling kind of ever so slightly, here and there, some lulls, just in the enjoyment levels for me personally. But I think mostly this is just highly entertaining. It really, really is, and I think it's just a warm, feel-good kind of film. And I've been watching quite a few martial arts films recently, kind of Shaw Brothers films. I've seen around 7 or 8 really, actually in the last few weeks. That's mostly what I've been watching. You could say just martial arts films, but yes, this film is definitely a very, very highly entertaining kind of martial arts film in the way the action is. It's got this kind of, while it's got kind of martial arts sequences, it's also got these Western, these shootouts, of course, these duels, kind of blended in, and I love the kind of the blend of this, the kind of balance, if you will. At times it's not perfectly balanced, I wouldn't say, but it's just great to see. It's a very, very unique film in that sense, and I think this pairing as well, Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan, it's a very, very kind of interesting mix here, of these two kind of personalities, if you will, these personas. But yes, worked so well, I thought, and this is a very, very quite a divisive film. It's not too loved at all, really. It's quite critically acclaimed, but the fans, it's not got a strong fan base, really, it seems. But yes, I thought this was a kind of pleasant surprise, actually, and I wasn't expecting it to be maybe that great, but I thought I'll probably enjoy this film, and you could say yes. By the end of the film, I loved it, actually, and I don't quite think it's a great film. I think it's very, very close, but it is, some moments here and there, and I think the opening kind of 10 minutes that could have been better and kind of bring the film down. But I do think for what this film is, kind of this highly unique film, and just kind of a feel-good, just kind of warm, yes, charming film, kind of the unique kind of comedy that it is. I think it's highly, highly enjoyable, and it's very, very rare to kind of get a film exactly like this. So that's kind of definitely high praise. It's a film that I can't say I've kind of seen a film like this for a while, actually. So it's very nice to see, and yeah, it's just a film that I loved. I love these characters, these two main characters. I liked Lucy Liu in the film, although I think that the princess character in this film, you could say, it's a bit inconsistent. I liked the princess actually more towards the end of the film, but I think the character growth, was maybe not organic, you could say. I think a little bit inconsistent. I think maybe that's kind of that's present in some of the other characters as well, just here and there. I think the two characters are mostly consistent throughout the film. Roy O'Banion, of course, played by Owen Wilson, and Jackie Chan's character of Chong Wan, and I think, yes, this central kind of friendship here, it's great to see, and I think the villain, second name, of course, Van Cleef, so that is, of course, a reference, you may have heard of him, Lee Van Cleef, one of my favourite kind of Western actors, and of course that is a reference to him, and kind of tribute to these kind of actors, of course. John Wayne as well, kind of referenced very obviously throughout the film. But yes, there's many different films in this. There's quite a few spaghetti westerns. This film kind of references, of course, Dances with Wolves as well. That's a film that it's definitely referenced, very obviously. The first act is very, very, it plays a pivotal role. These different, these parts in the narrative early on, of course, and how he meets these different characters. It's obviously, kind of tributing, Dances with Wolves, and it's a film that, check out my review of that. If you want to hear my thoughts. But yes, it's great to see these different westerns kind of referenced in this film, and I just think, it's not just a film that kind of throws these all around for the sake of it. It's a film that, it's very, very effective in these kind of references, of course, these kind of satirical moments. But again, it's its own thing. It's definitely full of heart, and it's kind of its own unique kind of passion. In these characters, and they're not kind of rip-offs of different characters. They're definitely kind of the unique characters that are definitely different takes on maybe past characters, but definitely its own thing as well. And I love the kind of warm and sincere relationship between these two main characters. I just love the way it starts off. It's not like they're straight away friends, and it takes a while for them to kind of really accept each other, and stuff, and they've got different motives in the film, and of course, it's just great to see. It's a very unique film, and I love this kind of organic, gradual build-up, of these characters, and I think just the action in the film is absolutely amazing. This is some great choreography. I love Jackie Chan films in the way that they kind of, well, a lot of his films, films he's in, and of course he plays a hand in a lot of the choreography, in his films, but just simply, I love the kind of unique and always different kind of action scenes in his films, and there's always kind of a different thing, really, in each of his films. The way in which he uses different objects, the environment, to kind of gain the upper hand, and I love the kind of the natural way in which he kind of he uses their weapons perhaps against them, and sometimes without kind of trying to, and it's kind of this accidental gaining the upper hand. I love that, I really do. I think it's very, very natural. It's a great way to kind of make this character believable. He's not this invincible character, and he's like that in a lot of his films. Jackie Chan films. His kind of his character is someone who maybe could be outmatched at times, but then he kind of gains the upper hand, and I love the kind of way the comedy comes into that, and it makes it kind of more believable and more kind of fantastical at the same time. It's a very unique kind of way in which his characters are, and I love all the the choreography in this film. I love the kind of the shootouts as well. I love how it kind of plays kind of a spin on different jewels in cinema, for comedy in this film, and I love the kind of the different references, as I've said, to different westerns, the western genre, as I've said before. It could be my kind of maybe my favourite kind of genre that isn't drama, because every film at some point it could be a drama, but westerns, something that I'm drawn to so much that maybe it could be my kind of favorite genre in that sense in terms of specific genre. But again, there's a couple of genres as well that are kind of up there at least. It maybe could be a tie actually between different genres, including the Western genre. A comedy Western, can be very very hard to kind of pull off, and for it to really work, it takes quite a lot actually. More than maybe you would think. To get a kind of effective and maybe sincere comedy Western. Many Westerns, of course, are funny. Most of my favourites are at some point, but really. It can be hard to kind of not to go too far, and if it does, I've seen a few actually. It's a few westerns that aren't quite my kind of thing. In terms of the comedy, maybe they go too far, and it's something that can go out of hand. In that sense, it takes a lot of control, and I think Tom Dey, for his first kind of directorial outing, I think controlled this tone so well actually. Very very hard to do, especially when he's balancing out different well, as I've said, this is kind of a mashup, many different genres, including of course kung fu, different martial arts films of course, and this kind of rescue mission as well of this princess. It's a film that does have a lot going on, and it's very nice to see this kind of comes together so well actually, and I think it's a very very good film indeed, and I think just a film that kind of is full of hilarious moments, of course. Walton Goggins as well, shout out of course to the actor. He is just great in my opinion. Everything I see this guy in, he's always hilarious and just very highly memorable, of course. The Hateful Eight and Django as well, especially these films here, so good in both of these. He's kind of one of the standout characters in this film here, and he's very, you could say he's a side character. He plays Wallace of course, and just definitely one of my favourite characters in the film. He's one of the characters that kind of, the actors as well, that kind of embodies this comedy western kind of feeling so well, and you could say it's very over the top, but it always works, at least in my opinion. And I love these scenes early on, the kind of bar shootouts and stuff, and the kind of fights in these locations, and there's a couple of as I said, some flat moments here and there, just as we go along, and the kind of opening 10 minutes as well. But mostly this is, at times a great film, always a very, very good film, really. And I think, it's definitely not quite a great film for me overall. But I did love this film, despite not giving it a great rating. I don't have to think a film is, a true great. It's kind of love a film. The film like this is very, very highly pleasing, to watch, and just a very, very feel-good film. And I love the scenery in the film. I love the way, the film is shot and edited. Brilliant, it really, really is. And I think the music as well. Again, it's kind of ties into the comedy as well. But yes, I think in itself the music is great to kind of feel in the film. And yes, not too many flaws here. Some slights, some things that don't quite, reach maybe higher marks than this, but I do give it a very, very high score. I have to give it an 88%, so that's a very, very high score. As I say, that's close to being great by me, and I do think, this is at times a great film, not quite overall, doesn't quite kind of, it doesn't quite speak to me, as an overall great film. It does definitely have some flaws and stuff, throughout the film, but I do think this is a film that I loved. I love these characters. I love the kind of friendship, kind of aspect of the film. This kind of buddying up, aspect. And yes, there are some things I don't like as much about the film, and things that, the opening as well, that could have been better. But generally it is a highly enjoyable film, a highly charming experience, and I just love the action in the film. Great action. There's some really mind-blowing stunts, as always, really, with Jackie Chan, and it really is just, it's quite wowing in so many regards, what he's able to do, of course. In terms of martial arts, Jackie Chan, He could be the one. He could be the kind of the all-round kind of most effective. I think it's very interesting to kind of compare, and at times, it's very. It doesn't really, doesn't mean too much to compare because of different styles, different kind of martial artists, of course. But I think Jackie Chan, he's definitely the contender for the most unique, at least, kind of martial arts individual in cinema, and I think it's just so great to see. This guy in action here. Definitely, a highly enjoyable performance from him. Owen Wilson is just great in the film, and I just loved these characters together, and their mission, of course. At times the motivations are different, but that's kind of the fun of the film as well. Is seeing these two very very different characters in how they approach things, and how they kind of they do kind of form this friendship, and I love the kind of. Yes, I love the kind of the ending moments as well. It's great to see some highly enjoyable moments there. Hilarious kind of final act, and one that is highly satisfying. Of course, maybe the characters, the princess and stuff, could have been better in the film. Maybe that would have elevated the film, and different other relationships, in the film to a higher status, and that could have maybe bumped it up, to this great mark. But regardless, my enjoyment is in that kind of that category. I love this film, and I think if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I think it's just a highly charming film, one that can lift the spirits potentially. Everyone's reacts differently to films, of course, but I personally love this film, and I certainly will be checking out the kind of the sequel to this, Shanghai Nights. Different director, but yes, these two characters, these actors, do return, of course, and it'll be very interesting to see. I look forward to it. Maybe I'll review that, maybe not. But yes, this film I wanted to talk about, and just to kind of give my thoughts, on this film, and just. Yes, just talk to you viewers, of course, and see what you think of the film, of course. In that sense, leave your thoughts in the comments, and what do you think of this film? If you've seen it, of course. If you haven't, of course, that's fine. And just, yes, what I'll say is, I recommend the film. I think it'll be potentially a highly, enjoyable kind of experience. And yes, I love the action. I love the comedy for the most part, and I just think. These characters, at least a few of them are great, and I love the kind of the way it kind of references and satires, of course, different genres, especially the kind of Western genre. I think is highly effective, in that sense, and I just think the kind of the way the film is shot mostly is great. There's some moments that I don't like as much, but mainly everything outside, the exterior shots are wonderful to see, and yes, just a highly enjoyable film. I don't think it's quite a great film overall, but regardless, I love the film, and it's certainly a film that I think is strangely kind of not talked about as much as I would have thought, just personally. But yes, in that sense, check it out if you've not seen it. It could be a great time for you as well. And yes, with that said, I'll be back. In a few days, hopefully. Maybe I won't distance myself from YouTube like I thought I would. Maybe I can keep going, despite everything. I think, yes, it might just be actually a more positive thing than ever to kind of carry on, kind of engaging with you viewers, or you viewers that have kind of subscribed, of course, and that have been watching my videos for a long time, especially. I think. Why would I stop? Why would I kind of take a back seat, if you will? I think let's just keep going. I can't say it's going to be every 2 days or anything like that, but it's something that I think why stop now, or at least why take a break? An extended break. I think let's keep going. Let's keep talking about cinema, and let's kind of just try to stay positive, in that sense. And with that said, stay safe, and yes. Tell me your thoughts on anything, cinema related, or just anything really. What you want to say in the comments, of course. And yes, hopefully I'll be reviewing some more Bond films soon. I must admit, I've not seen a Bond film for a few weeks now. I really wanted to kind of get myself in a certain mood for that. But I think yes, I should continue with The Man with the Golden Gun very, very soon, and just other films to review, westerns certainly. I'm not going to stop. With that, and yes, I look forward to it, of course. And yes, tell me your thoughts on this film. But as always, just anything cinema, or anything you want to say. Don't hesitate to kind of leave that in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.